Your cat educator here, and today we're going to talk about a very sensitive subject that often puts my crew into full mode panic because we know we're going to have to manage all the discussion about it, and I'm talking about declawing.
There you are. Admit it. You're not there because you need to be convinced not to declaw your cat. You're already there. But you want to know if the cat educator is doing it right, eh?
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you some information about declawing, but I'm going to mainly give you some tips on how to talk about declawing. Most people don't know that declawing is really an amputation and not just the removal of the claw. It's an amputation at the third phalanx of the toe. It's a little bit like if we were to cut your finger at the third phalanx here. Now, don't go over dramatizing this example.
It's like cutting the fingers of your children in a third phalanx.
You don't need to explain all the consequences or the pain that goes with an amputation. People know what it means. There are two cards often played when we're talking about declawing that must be avoided at all costs. The first one is the guilty card.
So you put the beauty of your sofa ahead of the health of your cat that you say you love?
The second one is the ethic card.
So you want to declaw your cat? How cruel of you.
I often see people talking about declawing, taking the consequences angle, the consequences on the health or the behavior of the cat. I would advise you to inverse that process. Talk about the alternative first, because talking about the consequences bring two main problems. The first problem is that by talking about consequences, you don't address what the people really wants, namely a solution to stop having problem with their cat clawing their sofa. People have tried the alternative mentioned in articles and videos about declawing, but because they were not really well explained or very explicit, they tried them the wrong way and it didn't work. So they stopped believing that with their cat, those alternative works. The other reason why we should avoid talking about the consequences is that you will be tempted to use a more moral or ethic-based reasoning when you talk about it. That would often turn the conversation to a debate, which often tends to degenerate. By simply stating that it is an amputation and then switch immediately to the alternative, you avoid all the bad temptation. There are three main criteria that needs to be observed. The stability, the location. The third criteria is the material of the scratching post. Cat Educator created a video called Solution for a Cat That Is Not Using the Scratching Post, and you will see why those three criteria are so important and why the alternative works when well implemented.
And what about the argument about cats that injured children, attacks the visit, or fight with other animals?
This one is rather easy. You simply have to explain that declawing a cat for this reason gives a false sense of security because a cat may simply bite if he needs to make someone understand that he should be left alone. A good alternative is to elect some safe haven place for your cat. You tell people that if a cat is in that cat tree or is in that room, they are not allowed to go and disturb him. That way, if a cat needs to be left at home because he has enough of the kids or the people, well, he knows that he doesn't have to resort to clawing or biting to get his tranquility. Simply make sure that you trim the claw of your cat to avoid some incident when two animals placed together or in the occasional brawl that might happen. Whether it is to trim their claw, to use the brush, or give some medication, know that Cat Educator can help you via their cat coaching service, where we can give you some trick using desensitization and positive reinforcement technique to be able to do all that. Know that there is another alternative called the cap claw or the soft paw. There are little plastic envelope that goes over the claw of your cats. Here you go, it's easy. Try not to convince, but inform people and talk about the alternative instead of the consequences. And that way, we'll keep those paws intact.